So episode 6 pretty much confirmed what I thought all along, and it's that Shingo is a piece of shit because right on the episode we see him clearly selling out his friends for like all this special food and treatment. Because at the beginning of the episode we see now that obviously Hana is back and they were like gonna fill her in, but obviously we have the vice president. She had told her most of already, and so she was up to date. But then we have the president once again using Operation DTO, even though there was no need for the first operation. And so right now we have the vice president, breaking out into a sweat, and of course, they bring out the fancy when that happened because we also saw the camera, zooming on her thighs, and she was like thinking about telling her that or not. But Hana here, she gives no fucks, and she tells the president straight out to her face that there was no need to use operation when the O in DTO stands for that. And so we see now that the president, she was like playing that off, saying that it was a test to see, because Hana had been gone for a while, to see right now if her skills were like slacking. And right there I was like calling bullshit, because there's no way that like that right there was a test. She it's obvious that the president, she wanted to like save face, obviously, and that way she would not look bad for like messing up again. But we see now that when all the guys here were like done working for today, we see now how the vice president had first called, Shingo, to like suck in the office. And we see now that when they were talking, she had this very tasty looking cake, and we see her now that when the vice president was like eating that, this girl right here, she is a very, very messy, eater. She's just so freaking sloppy. It's obvious that, like they are definitely pushing like the borderlines when it comes to fan service, with her character, because we see now that all the frost around her mouth, it fell, onto her chest, and like even when as far, falling onto her legs, and we see it now, sliding down. So obviously, Shingo here was like definitely enjoying the show, but when she let him eat that as well, we see now, Shingo, but was not wasting time. He was like chowing down. But then again, I don't know why he was like acting this way, because even though, she was like giving him fancy food, it's not like he ate that bad in prison, because some of that stuff actually looked pretty good. So, but regardless, Shingo was like definitely chowing down on that cake though. And so we see now that what the vice president wants him to do is to like gather information and, give it to her. So that way they can use it, to get those boys out of there, because we did learn beginning in that little meeting, we did learn that like 3 strikes, or pretty much if these guys try to like break out 3 times, that right there, will like cause them to be expelled. And so we see that they want to use any info they can to push you guys over the edge, and that right there will like cause them to start problems. And so we see that, when like Shingo had returned and they were like all having their dinner, we see now that Andre here had made the mistake and knocked over Joe's, air farm. And this right here, set him off, and he got so violent, he was like saying that, he was like going to kill Andre. And then we have Shingo the Rat, because that right there will be his name. Obviously, everything he knew, it was definitely, like not worth telling. And so we have the vice president, wondering, just how long, this will go on, because right now, she is not abusing Shingo, and even Andre for some reason is not getting beat up. I have no idea, why is that the case. Like maybe Shingo and Andre are like best friends, and maybe that's why, the vice president is not getting on him like the others, along with Shingo. But we see now that, she had like a very expensive meat, and we see that, some of the oil that was like being used to cook it actually got on her skin. And not only that, we also saw, like fall once again onto her thighs, and that angle, and from the way that like she had her legs spread open, obviously, that right there could be very, very, misunderstanding, especially from a guy perspective. And I was like definitely shocked, but it seemed like they had turned down the censorship in this episode because obviously we still got some, but we clearly saw panties in the episode, and normally they do censor that, and that really surprised me. But we see now that when Shingo had mentioned the ant farm, especially how like Joe had reacted, we see that when the vice president was like telling the president about that, we see now that there was an ant that somehow got into their room and was like climbing onto where she was like riding at, and we see her now hatching this plan. And so because of that, because of the following day when they were all outside, playing tag, we see now that the student council, they were actually outside for the first time, and normally like they are never out there because Kiyoshi actually pointed that out. But we see now that at one point he fell asleep, but when he woke up, he could kind of overhear Shingo and the vice president talking. And right now Joe here, he was like playing with his ass because he said Wednesdays would be the day that he'll walk them. And so we see now that now Shingo had to distract him, and we see that because of that that when Joe wasn't looking, or when everyone was like distracted, we had one of the crows coming down there, and it seemed like it was like attacking the ants, and that right there has set Joe off because we see him now trying to get to him, so like trying to get to the ants, so that way they could be protected. But we have the vice president blocking his path, but eventually Joe had enough, and we see her now actually grabbing her boobs and like throw her to the ground, and that would have me die because obviously he could touch her anywhere to like get her out of the way, but he went right for the tits, and that right there is hilarious. But we see now that even though he had tried so hard to get to them, we have Hana back again, and she like kicked him to the ground. And now him thinking that like that his ants were dead, we see him now get these like red shot eyes like that of a demon. And right now we have him having a sharp end of a twig, and so we have Kiyoshi noticing that, and then we have him trying to attack the trying to attack the president because obviously that right there was her crow. But luckily we have Kiyoshi, tackling him to stop him. But then we see all the blood out of nowhere. So I thought for sure that like obviously Kiyoshi got stabbed. Now what I wasn't expecting was for where that twig to be, because it actually went right into his ass. And I'm thinking, how in the world is that possible? Because we saw the angle they had fell. There is no way in the world that Joe could have stabbed him right there. And so obviously we have no idea exactly how it played out, but we just know that twig went right up his ass. And so now we see all this blood, and and then first nobody was believing that like there was no way Joe had a weapon, because we have Kiyoshi saying that he was like being careless and he fell. And so now we see that because of that, obviously that right there had definitely, lessened Joe's punishment, but he still got trouble for like pushing the vice president and coming at the president, with the intent to cause harm. And so right now he was like thrown into solitary, and we have Kiyoshi definitely needing to go to the nurse's office. And so now we see that, the Hana, she had like volunteered to take him, but, Kiyoshi definitely did not want that. He had wanted 4 eyes, or maybe he could like go alone, but Hana definitely wouldn't let him do that. And so now we see that when they were in the nurse's office, Kiyoshi was like definitely worried. But then we see now Hana giving him the ointment that like he can use, and she had left. But when she came back, she obviously had some kind of container, and she actually wanted Kiyoshi to piss in it. And then she was like, and then we see now Hana actually having the nerve to like wanting to get her revenge on Kiyoshi. And that right there, which is so messed up, because I felt bad for the guy, because not only did he get hurt, but now he was actually going to get a golden shower of his own. But then we see that Hana here, she was like trying so hard to see his dick. but we see now Kiyoshi was like persistent the entire time and like never let her saw it. But now we see that the Hana had no choice because that nurse could return at any time, because right now obviously that nurse was like definitely out somewhere, and she was actually going to actually piss on Kiyoshi first. And so now we see that just before she could do it, because we saw Hana get upset about that. And not only did she take off her panties, but she was like standing right over Kiyoshi. She was like really going to do that. And then we have Chiyo, God bless her heart. She had came in there to check on Kiyoshi. And obviously it definitely would not look that well if she found him and Hana like that. And so now we see at first she could not find Kiyoshi, but she would not leave, because we see her now mentioning the bed, because obviously after an injury like that he should be laying down, and that right there caused him to the panic, and now they had no choice but to hide underneath the bed. And we see now that like they were like pretty close, and we even have Hana making a comment about something touching her and getting bigger and bigger, and obviously every guy knows what that is. And so now we see that when Chiyo finally left, and for some reason I'm definitely shocked she didn't catch him like some way somehow. I thought for sure that like Hana would scream feeling his dick against her, but we see now that when Hana had left, obviously, we have Kiyoshi, we have Kiyoshi, feeling so bad for Hana, but we see her now actually passing out, or she has already passed out, from the shock of what was touching her. But now we see at the following day, we see now that Joe had now come back, and obviously all these guys were now working, but during their break we have all the guys sitting together except for Kiyoshi, who was like on his own, and we have Shingo once again like trying to order him around, saying bring the kettle to him, and Kiyoshi was like going to do it at first, till Joe here actually got involved and told him to do it himself, and said that he was full of crap. And I am so glad that we finally have another person standing for Kiyoshi, because right now it's like it's 4 hours if he get his act together, and Joe together with Kiyoshi going against Shingo and Andre, and I'm pretty sure Andre will definitely be a lot easier to win over. But now we see that when their break was over, we have the vice president calling Shingo for a different job, but we see now it was time for a different meeting, and she actually bought him his uniform, because right now she will give him 2 hours of free time. And I do wonder if this right here is a trap, because even though she said as long as he does right by her, she will never do him wrong, I just don't believe that. So I do feel this right here could be a setup for them to get a third strike, because right now I'm pretty sure well, from last week, we all do know that when they all get in trouble, well, when one gets in trouble, they all get in trouble. And I feel that, by Shingo going out, and if the president says she had no idea that, he had 2 free hours, that right there could be, a third strike for them, and possibly, try to expel them. Because obviously if one goes, they all go, or at least I feel that right there is how they will try to play it off. But overall, a very solid episode. I felt bad for Joe. We have the vice president being a hoe as usual, with the fan service. But overall, I definitely enjoyed it. To me, it was very solid. And once again, I definitely hate Shingo. But of course, I would get you guys' thoughts on this. And for an overall rating, I'm probably giving maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. But please do not forget to like and subscribe. Cause it lets me out. And you guys take it easy. And I will see you all next time.